Hey everyone, this is Mr. C of Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy, and welcome to Music Theory lesson number 5. So, in lesson number 4, we were composing, it was rhythms part 2, and we were composing our own 4-measure example. We're going to be doing that some more, okay guys? So make sure you have your manuscript paper and you have a good pencil with an eraser, okay? We're going to do that some more. Sure you have that stuff, and get ready because we're going to add a couple of things that we didn't have before. We're going to add a couple of different things for our rhythm composition, okay? So let's take a look so far what we have. So we remember our good old quarter note, which is 1 beat, okay? Let's make sure, by the way, take your pencils, go all the way to the left side of your pre-done staff lines, okay? Let's draw a bar line right there on the end, and then let's add our 4/4 meter. Okay, we're going to do our 4/4 meter, and let's create more bar lines to create four other measures. Okay, so here's measure number 1. Okay, another bar line here, measure number 2, another bar line here, measure number 3, and our last measure number 4. Let's do a double bar line to let us know that we are at the end of our rhythm composition. Now, also remember, I wanna take this time to add in a little note here. Okay, so our 4/4 meter, and lately we've been doing our rhythm compositions, our examples, having 4 measures. Okay, but don't be confused. Okay, don't think, I should say, that our 4/4 meter is telling us that we have to have 1, 2, 3, 4 measures. We're just doing 4 measures as an example. Okay, as a short example, but in actuality, in a song, okay, just because it's 4/4, it's a 4/4 meter, doesn't mean we have to have only 4 measures. We can have 5 measures. We can have 10 measures. We can have 100 measures if that's what a song is called for. Okay. However, okay, our 4/4 meter, let's remember what it means. Okay, sets the rules as far as how we're going to compose our example or our song. Our 4/4 meter tells us that there are 4 beats in every measure. And the bottom number 4 tells us that the quarter note is equal to 1 beat. Okay? All right, guys. So now let's take a look. Okay, again, down here, our little note answer key. Okay, we're going to utilize some of the same notes that we've had done before. However, with knowing that our quarter note is equal to 1 beat, we have our 2/8 notes in our music theory lesson number 2. We went over the 2/8 notes. Remember our 8th note by itself. When we write it, we have a note head, okay? We have a stem, then we have our little flag at the top of that, okay? By the way, that's not the best, okay? Let's make sure that our stem doesn't go past the actual note head there, okay? But the idea is, okay, it has a little flag to let us know that that is an 8th note. That's an 8th note by itself, okay? And our 8th notes are half a beat each. What happens is when we take 2/8 notes, okay, and we kind of combine them to have sort of a rhythm theme going on, or yeah, like a rhythm theme. Basically, we can take 2/8 notes, take their little flags, and tie them together to create this one line that goes on the top of both stems of the 8th notes. Okay, and that's how we know we're still dealing with 2/8 notes. Again, they're being half a beat each. Half a beat plus half a beat will equal 1 full beat. When we clap our quarter notes, we just go 1, right? When we clap our 8th notes, however, we have to clap both of them to let us know that we are doing those units, those miniature units of sound, those 2 half a beat each, and it goes 1 and. Okay, do that real quick, guys. 1 and. That's how 2/8 notes are going to feel when they're both sounded. Okay, and now what you might say is that the 2/8 notes again sound like they're faster than the quarter note. Okay, don't think of it that way. In actuality, it's not that they're faster so much as that they're smaller. They're smaller increments of sound, smaller beat units. Okay, remember again, they are half a beat each. And you might be saying, well, Mr. C, but they do sound faster. Well, think of it this way. Remember the word tempo? Tempo is how fast or slow you play a song or sing a song, right? So if we usually do our tempo counts at the beginning of our rhythm example to kind of get us going, to stay on a particular pace, right? So we go 1, 2, ready, and if we were doing 4 quarter notes, we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one speed, right? If we were to play it faster, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be the quarter notes. Then you see the difference? There's a difference between the first 4 quarter notes that I played. I played 4 of these. I went 1, 2, 3, 4. But then the faster tempo made me play the same quarter notes. There's still one beat, but we went faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 quarter notes, okay? So you can see now that even though tempos have changed between those 2 examples just now, right? The tempos have changed, but they still, it doesn't take away the value of the quarter notes, okay? So depending on what the tempo is, that's how it's going to determine how fast we're going to play or how slow. But the fact is that this still, the notes themselves don't really change the speed. It's the tempo that determines the speed, but the notes still keep the same value, okay? So let's say because our eighth notes are half a beat each, okay? Let's say we're going to clap 8 eighth notes, okay? That would equal 4 beats, right? So if we were doing in that first tempo, 1 and 2 and 3, and we play eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? But then let's say we up the tempo. Let's say we change the speed of the tempo to go faster. Well, now those same eighth notes, okay, 1 and, right? They're still going to equal 1 beat. 2 of them will still equal 1 beat, but it will sound faster because now I've changed the tempo. 1 and 2 and ready, here we go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, 4 and. Okay, it's still 1 beat. They are still 1 beat. The only difference is the tempo. So again, eighth notes, these 2 eighth notes are just a subdivision of the quarter note. This is still 1 beat, so are these 2. They're still 1 beat, right? But that doesn't make these faster than those. They just makes them smaller, okay? That's a little FYI, guys. Now, we have now our now added symbol over here, okay? Take a look over here. This is known as our quarter rest. Our quarter rest, notice I put an equal sign and a 1. Our quarter rest equals 1 beat, okay? A rest is simply a unit of silence, okay? That's all it is. It's a symbol of silence. So wait a minute, Mr. C. So you might be asking now, wait a minute, Mr. C. You just said that a quarter rest, okay, is 1 beat of silence. How can it have 1 beat, okay, and yet be silent, okay? Well, because here's the thing. Notice how, like in grammar, there are pauses within sentence structure, right? There are pauses. Well, in music, there's also pauses within musical phrases. The rests are those pauses, okay? But how long we hold a pause is determined by the kind of rest we're going to use. In this case, notice the name of this, okay? It looks like a squiggly line, by the way. Like a weird lightning bolt or a squiggly spaghetti. I've heard many names for it over the years from my other students. Okay, but these are, basically this squiggly line is known as our quarter rest. Okay, it is equal to 1 beat of silence, as opposed to the quarter note. Notice this has the same name, quarter note, but quarter rest. Okay, this is 1 beat of sound, whereas the quarter rest is 1 beat of silence. That's the difference between the two, other than the fact that they look totally different, right? Okay, but that's how we know. We're going to sound this, but we're going to be silent when we see one of these in any part of our example. Okay, guys? So let's get ready to compose using our little answer key here, along with the notes that we've already learned thus far, okay? So we'll start in the first measure. Let's start with our good old friend, the quarter notes, okay? Just to kind of ease us in. Take your pencil, shade in a note head, draw a stem right there on the right side of that note head, using the bottom space of the staff, which is the bottom 2 lines, okay? Making sure the note head is in between the 2. And then you're also going to take your pencil, right? You're going to write in number 1. That is our first beat of the measure, okay? But now let's add, hold on a second, guys. I just want to check something real quick. All right, now let's just add our quarter rest, shall we? We're going to add our quarter rest here. This is one beat of silence. So here's beat one, beat number two. Okay, by the way, this is how we write it. Take your pencil. You're going to come to the second to top line. You're going to angle off a little bit, just up to there. Okay, just a little underneath that second line there. Okay, angle from the left to the right. Then you're going to angle again from the right to the left. Over here, just underneath the third line, okay? Then you're going to angle off again, okay? Just like that, and then curve it, angle curve, just like so. And that is our quarter rest. So it's kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Basically 4 strokes to create that little funny symbol there, okay? And that's going to be our beat 2, okay? Beat number 2 of that measure. We still need 2 more beats to complete that measure, right? So let's add another, why don't we add another quarter note? Let's do that, okay? Note head, stem, that's beat number 3. That's beat number 3 right there. And let's add another quarter rest. Let's practice that, okay? Remember, it's 4 strokes, okay? So take your pencil. Here we go. Let's do it together. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? There it is, and that will be our beat number 4. Okay? That's first measure. Second measure, all right? Let's do another quarter note. Okay, and just so you know, we're gonna do another quarter rest right after that, by the way. Okay, so here's another quarter note. Shade in that. Okay, write it in. Okay, stem. Okay, beat number 1. Okay, again, doesn't have to be perfect. Although sometimes, I have to, I tend to try to perfect it. I think it's because I just want to make sure you guys are doing it. But in actuality, it's not drawing, it's writing. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Okay, so first beat of the second measure, quarter note. Quarter rest is the second beat. Here we go with our pencils, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our quarter rest, and then we're going to do beat number 2 there. Okay, but let's do something different now. Let's use a half note this time. We have 2 beats in the first 2 beats in the second measure. We need 2 more beats to complete it. Why not use a half note, which is equal to 2 beats? But we can do it with 1 note, right? So this one, remember, bottom space, empty note heads. Okay, no shading in this time. It's just a circle, and then add the stem towards the right side of that note head. And you're going to add the counts 3 dash for the hold and 4. Okay, 3 hold 4. There it is. Okay, so that's what you have. That's what we have so far. That's the first 2 measures. We have our second measure to do now. Let's do what? Let's do another quarter note. Okay, I know I'm quarter note happy today, I think. Okay, but let's do our first beat using our quarter note there. Okay, write this along with me. And stem, add the stem. That's our beat 1. Okay, but what's the 1 note now? What's the 1 note? Okay, if we have our first beat, we need 4 beats all together to complete the measure. We have our first beat in the third measure. What's the 1 note that we could use in order to complete that measure? Why don't we do a dotted half note? Remember our good old friend, the dotted half note? Okay, it's just a half note, same as a half note, but with the added dot there next to it, okay? And there you can add the counts. It's a 3-beat note, so it's going to be beat number 2, hold over to 3, hold over to 4, okay? Those are the 3 beats completing the third measure, okay? And then let's go back to our old friend in the last measure just to end it, okay? Let's go back to our old friend, the whole note. Remember, the whole note is just a note head, no stem required. And then we're going to add our beats because what? Our whole note is equal to 4 beats. So we're going to hit once, that's beat number 1, hold to 2, hold to 3, and hold to 4. Let me write that number 4 a little better. There we go. Okay, so there it is. There's our 4 measure example with the notes we've learned, a combination of the notes we've learned along with a combination that we just did. But guess what? Guess what? Mr. C just made a mistake. We need to change something, okay? let's go back to measure number 2. Okay, I'm so embarrassed about this. Okay, but hey, it happens. I just told you that we added in the new stuff that we just learned. Oh, what happened to our eighth notes? Ah, I can't believe I did that. Okay, so I'm going to get my eraser over here. Okay, we're going to go to the second measure. That was actually my original intention. Okay, I'm going to just erase our quarter note, our friend the quarter note here. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to add in, you know, it's a good thing you guys have manuscript notebooks because you don't have to add in staff lines like I do. I gotta write them in there, or draw them in, I should say in this case. Okay, so we're still missing the first beat of the second measure. We're gonna use eighth notes this time. Okay, that's the added thing that I wanted there in the first place. So instead of having just one note head, we're gonna have the 2 with the stems and the line across the top of the stems for our tied flags to let us know that those are eighth notes. Okay, so here we go. Shade in the note head, shade in another note head, right next to it. Okay, give a stem to each. Okay, and then draw a line across this top of those 2 stems. And with the count, by the way, with the count, guys, the first eighth note head, there's our 1. Underneath the second one, write a little A. Okay, so that our count, the A stands for the word and, so our count is going to go 1 and. Okay, that's how that's going to go with our eighth notes there, okay. All right, guys, so there is our 4 measure composition, rhythm composition. Let's do this together. We're going to clap, we're going to learn how to clap them, and we're going to do the whole thing. Okay, so get your hands ready, pencils down, get your hands ready, and here's our first measure. Our first measure, watch this, we have our quarter note. Okay, but remember, second beat, quarter rest, is a beat of silence. 1 beat, but of silence. Okay, so what we're going to do is, instead of, what we're going to do is to showcase that we're being silent for a full beat in the second beat there, we're just going to have our hands apart and go 2. All right, so the first 2 beats there, it's going to go 1, 2. Everybody do that with me. 1, 2. Okay, so we take our hands apart to show that we're being silent. Okay, so when we do this next 2 beats, it's the same thing. On beat number 3, it's beat number 3, then beat number 4, 4, just like that. So all together, that measure is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody got that? That's how that goes. Okay, second measure, we have our 2 eighth notes, 1 and then we have our beat number 2, quarter rest, 1 beat of silence, 2, and then our half note, 3, hold, 4. Remember that, guys? Okay, so that's how that second measure is going to go. So all together, that measure is going to be like this. Here, I'm going to count us in and give you a 4-beat tempo. Let's do it together. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, everybody count and clap. Here we go. 1 and 2. 3, hold, 4. Let's do that again real quick. Ready? 1, 2, ready, and second measure. Go. 1 and 2. 3, hold, 4, and done. Okay, that's our second measure. Third measure, watch me. It's 1, 2, hold, 3, hold, 4 for the dotted half note. Okay, do it together, guys. Here's our tempo count. Here we go. 1, 2, clap your hands. Here we go, and count. 1, 2, hold, 3, hold, 4, and done. Okay, and then guess what? Our last measure, our whole note. Okay, we should know this one by now, guys. So we're going to clap once, hold over for 4 counts. On my count, guys, here we go. 1, 2, ready. Let's clap. Here we go. 1, hold, 2, hold, 3, hold, 4, and off. Okay, guys, there it is. That's the whole thing that we just did. Now we're going to do the whole thing again, but from beginning all the way to end. No pauses in between measures, okay? So get your hands ready. Remember to keep on tempo. I'm going to give that tempo count to start us off, okay? And we stay on that tempo throughout, okay? Everybody ready? Well, let me check something out real quick. Hold on a sec. There we go. All right. Let's take it from the top, guys. Here we go on my count. And 1, 2, ready, clap and count. Here we go. 1, rest. 2, 3, rest. 4, and 1, and rest. 2, 3, hold. 4, and 1. 2, hold. 3, hold. 4, and hold note. 1, hold. 2, hold. 3, hold. 4, and off. All right, guys, there it is. That is how we clap this example right here. You can practice this on your own. You can continue to practice this example. Okay, but one of your assignments is going to be, guys, when you after you check out this video, after you do this video, you're going to compose your own 4-measure example again, utilizing not only the notes that we've learned, but also the added eighth notes, as well as your quarter rest. Okay, and next time we'll be adding a couple of more rests, okay, that I mentioned. There are other rests, okay, that are held for either longer or shorter amount of time. Okay, so that is our lesson for today, guys. Music theory lesson number 5. As always, guys, I wish you happy practicing. Everyone, take care.